Similarly, Trump's counsel also told the DOJ all responsive records were housed in one location, the storeroom, but refused to let investigators examine boxes to confirm everything had been turned over. Lots of amateur sleuths are poring over the picture of the classified docs at the moment. The only details note beyond the language of the cover sheets is the 3 dates that are just barely discernible on the documents. Notable, many pointing out that Trump prompted this filing by the DOJ by filing suit. DOJ cites a ruling from another Trump-provoked legal battle against the January 6th committee to bolster its case against Trump's executive privilege. The DOJ asked the judge overseeing the investigation, Beryl Howell, to permit the release of some grand jury information as a part of this filing. In some instances, even the FBI counterintelligence personnel and DOJ attorneys conducting the review required additional clearances before they were permitted to review certain documents. So the documents that Donald Trump hid and refused to give back, the federal government, when the federal government asked nicely time and time again, which is just insane, completely insane. And also insane because, like, why would you do this? It is so clearly in violation of the law, but insane also because it's like the silliest thing to do. They gave you every out. They gave you every opportunity to handle this amicably, and you still chose to go, nope, not doing it. Like, what are you, trying to go to prison for treason or some shit? Like, what's happening? Is this just like a trial on what he can get away with? It's like the dumbest shit. You could have done so many different things, which Donald Trump did, to be honest. His cabinet, his administration was pretty corrupt and not exactly very good at hiding the corruption either. At least like the Clintons, Obama, all these other were like very good at utilizing the legal avenues of corruption. Whereas Donald Trump was just like, YOLO, I'm going to boulder through this like I have this entire time. In retrospect, it's mind-boggling that Trump and his team spent weeks since August 8th search saying they voluntarily comply with every request of the DOJ investigators. They even put it in their lawsuit when it's simply false. Why raid my home when a platoon of federal agents when I have voluntarily cooperated with every one of your requests? Well, they didn't. You took some of the files and you hid them. You took some of the files and took it somewhere else. It doesn't make sense. It does not make any sense whatsoever. It is so weird. It's like the homie in the group that is a pathological liar. And you're like, bro, you would be a cool person. You don't have to constantly one-up everybody. You don't have to constantly lie. Everyone in the group knows you're lying all the time, okay? You don't have to do that, but he's still doing it. You know what I mean? He just can't stop himself, and that's like how Trump is. He just has to do like little schemes, no matter what. He's like Marat. When Marat comes over to the house, his hands have to constantly be in everything. He has to like it up. Engineer brain. He has to break things, right? And then fix them. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do this. And it's like the same with Trump. You don't have to constantly be doing schemes, even when those schemes are like not even big ones, not even good ones. When the federal government comes over and says, these are incredibly well-documented documents, like we know exactly where they're supposed to be. There's 11 different classifications. I made up that number. There is a rule book on how you need to maintain these things. We know exactly where they are, or we should know technically exactly where they are. Are they out of place? You give them some of it and then keep some of it behind. Like, what are you doing? What the are you doing? It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, why would you do this? Trump's first statement about the photo of the classified records claims he declassified all of them. Notably, Trump's lawyers did not say this in their lawsuit, and per DOJ, never represented that anything had been declassified during the months of talks. Nothing has been declassified during the months of talks, and he didn't even go through the proper declassification channels. People in Trump's cabinet never even talked about how Trump would have a new method of declassifying documents in his brain, okay? Not that it matters. It doesn't matter. They're lying about it anyway, but like, holy shit. I hate that we have to take everything that a serial liar seriously because he was the president. Here's what the DOJ said about this in last night's filing. When producing the documents, neither counsel nor the custodian asserted that the former president had declassified the documents or asserted any claim of executive privilege. Instead, the counsel handed them in a manner that suggested the counsel believed that the documents were classified. The production included a single red-weld envelope, double wrapped in tape containing the documents. The individual present as a custodian of records produced it. Trump's response to this filing is due tonight. It will be very instructive if his attorneys do not echo Trump's claim that he declassified all these records before leaving office. Likewise, Judge Cannon can simply ask them at tomorrow's hearing whether Trump's claim is true. Also, from what I understand, the federal judge that they went to said, no, we will not be bringing in a special counsel and invoking attorney-client privilege. But like I said, some of the documents that they're sifting through are so highly classified that even the investigators assigned, the FBI investigators assigned to the project need to seek out higher classification and a higher security clearance to even look at the documents that they retrieved. Think about that. It's so weird.
This morning, the first look inside the FBI's dramatic search of Mar-a-Lago. This photograph showing document after document, labeled secret and top secret in bold red letters, recovered at an unsecured resort. Look closely, you'll see one labeled HCS, initials for Human Intelligence Control System, meaning it likely contains information about or the identities of U.S. spies and informants. DOJ's 36 motion challenging Trump's need for a special master also provides the most detailed narrative thus far why the FBI took the extraordinary step of searching the home and offices of a former president. The new details include a rare submission of grand jury material from an ongoing investigation, revealing in May a grand jury subpoena was issued for classified documents stored at Mar-a-Lago. The filing describing how FBI officials went to the resort to pursue the material in June. DOJ suggesting that the Trump team was misleading at every turn. This filing includes a June 3rd document from a Trump attorney.
I straight up I do not understand. Usually there is like a very simple answer for these sorts of things. You know what I mean? No matter how stupid or corrupt someone is, there has to be like a personal motivation, okay? There has to be a primary reason for why you would take these classified documents. Maybe you wanted to sell them, right? Like maybe you wanted to make a quick buck, which is unimaginably stupid, but let's say that's the reason. Once the federal government's like, no, we caught you, please give us the documents back, we're asking nicely, how do you just go, okay, here are some of the documents, and then keep the rest of them? How do you do that? It makes no sense. Like, you can't, there is no leverage in that circumstance. You're the only leverage is how many cigarettes you're going to be able to sneak in your gigantic bussy into federal prison so you can have some leverage and protection inside. That's the only leverage you got at that point. What the are you doing? It just doesn't, I don't understand it. It makes no sense. They gave him an out every step of the way. That's the funniest part about this. Like, federal authorities do not operate in a disruptive capacity. Federal agencies are not supposed to attack people like Donald Trump. That's why so many Republicans are losing their minds over this, okay? The federal government does not come after the rich and powerful. Let's be real. Their sole purpose pretty much is to extend the same hierarchies that bind us, the same hierarchies that govern us. And at the center of that, at the core of that, is capital's incredible, awesome powers, right? The federal agencies are supposed to protect that power. So you don't really expect them to turn around and just like, rip dicks.
Certifying that all classified documents had been turned over. But soon afterwards,
By the way, someone asked like he might have just like stolen them and took them as a memento or a keepsake. And I think that is probably the case. Probably wanted to get caught for the attention and to galvanize his base. And this is just a hit job to stop him from running. Like if it seems content brand as Trump would do. No, that's too much 5D chess for Trump. He doesn't operate in that kind of like mischievous capacity. No, that's just like, that's literally theory crafting that's just what Democrats and Republicans both did for the past 6, 7, 8 years that Trump has been in politics now. You know what I mean? A prominent force in politics. No, he's not that smart, man. He's not. If he was that smart, he wouldn't have defaulted owning a casino. Come on.
FBI uncovering multiple sources of evidence indicating
the most likely circumstance here, the funniest outcome is probably the truest outcome. The funniest outcome could have literally been Trump thinking that like the case, because they said in the investigation that they mismanaged the documents all the time. They mishandled them all the time. Like they would put like top secret information along with like, copies of Time magazine. So the funniest and most likely scenario here is that he literally didn't know. He's such a idiot that he just straight up took like a bunch of the important stuff and put them in other boxes that were not supposed to be there and didn't realize that he took some of the top secret classified shit and left it with the other classified shit, because everything is classified. Everything he touches is classified. He's a president. And most likely he just like took some of the highest security clearance, classified shit that he wanted to show off to his friends because he's a idiot. And he put it in with the memorabilia, not realizing that, like, the federal government is not supposed to, when the federal government asks for that, you have to give it, you have to take it, and you have to give it back. Why won't he return? The reason why he didn't return it is because he's a idiot. And he was like, no, these are mine. These are like Time magazine. No, keep those. Mar-a-Lago is more secure than whatever office building they were originally in, to be honest. Remember Watergate? What? Oh, that's not true. Mar-a-Lago does have a top secret. It has like a weird acronym. It's like SCAT or something. SCIF. SCAT. SCIF. Mar-a-Lago has a skiff, which is a top secret classified like room that you have, right? Yeah, it's like there's like different rules and regulations for things like that. However, from what I understand, if memory serves, skiff designation goes away when you're no longer the president. You can't just like have a skiff. Yeah, see? They had a skiff, but they had it dismantled and removed from Mar-a-Lago in 2021. You can't permanently have a federal government operated special classification room to maintain and hold on to classified documents when you're no longer president. But it doesn't even matter because he took it out of that room anyway. He literally took it out of that room. As they say,
that the response to the May 11th grand jury subpoena was incomplete and that the
I'll be
classified
back.
documents remained at the premises. And for the first time, startling specific allegations of obstruction of justice. According to the court filing, the FBI developed evidence that government records were likely concealed and removed from the storage room at Mar-a-Lago, and that efforts were likely taken to obstruct the government's investigation. Some of that classified material found in a series of desks in Trump's office. More than 100 documents recovered. Again, this after Trump's attorney had claimed all the material had been turned over.
DOJ officials claim Trump has little to no standing to request a special master review of documents based on issues of privilege. They said there could be no claim of executive privilege because the classified documents do not belong to Trump. They belong to the U.S. government. George?
Thanks. It's bringing our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams. You had some midnight reading.
Yep.
Let's talk about it right now. Earlier, you thought we didn't know enough based on the earlier affidavits to determine whether it was likely that former President Trump would be indicted. How does this change your view?
Look, none of this is good for Donald Trump, right? Anything in here simply increases the chance of a possible indictment. But it doesn't answer the fundamental question, which is, was the primary goal of the FBI to get the stuff back, to say we need to secure this stuff? Or is it both to secure the stuff and to pursue a potential criminal case? And we simply don't know how willing or eager, and it's not going to be up to the FBI, it's going to be up to Merrick Garland, as to whether to file charges in connection.
We don't know, and Pierre highlighted as well, but this is the sentence in the document that really jumped out at me. It said the government also developed evidence that government records were likely concealed and removed from the storage room, and that efforts were likely taken to obstruct the government's investigation.
And when you read this document, it becomes clear that they tried and tried to work with the Trump team. Up to this point, Donald Trump has said, look.
Yes, that's the funniest part. Again, and I've repeated this so many times. You probably heard me say this so many times over the course of the past month or so now, or whenever this shit popped off originally, is that they, at every step of the way, every single step of the way, were like, please, let's not rock the boat. Can you please give us the documents? Can you please give us the documents if we ask nicely? Please, just give us the documents.
I gave them everything. I gave them access. What this document makes clear is not only did he not give them access at certain times, but they gave him extension. They said, okay, you want some more time? Here's some more time. Get back to us. He then gets back to them. They then have this meeting. They then have this final meeting on June 3rd at Mar-a-Lago, where they won't even let the FBI look inside the boxes. And instead what they say is, we're going to give you an assurance in writing that there is nothing else here that's classified.
Well, that was the other important thing. One of Trump's lawyers filed this document that said, based on what she was told, she turned over everything.
Yeah, and the question
in that.
Thank you,
the
Mobius,
question
for the 5 get the
is
subs.
that the lawyer's fault? Is that Donald Trump's fault? In the document, she's saying she's speaking on behalf of Donald Trump in connection with that.